Okay, we're on the way to see the Fnaf 2 movie. I cut my bangs. Colby wants the mimic to show up. I would hope not, frankly. Anyway, we're on the way to the Fnaf movie, and it's pouring down rain, and it's very cold outside, but it's not as cold as the weather said that it was going to be. So luckily, the movie is not canceled. That was my worry all day today, was that they were going to cancel the movie because I'm going to the late showing because I was at work. Not that you care about any of this, but I think I'm just excited. I think these are my nerves coming through, and I'm whipping Puppet. I know it's vertical, but I didn't know how to get the video of my full outfit horizontally, and I don't know if I'm gonna have a chance to do this when we get to the theater, so I'm just gonna do this. Oh, okay. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, so I just wanted to show off a little. I think it's gonna be good. I saw one bad review, and that's all I've seen. And probably from somebody who doesn't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's in the first place. So, you know, I just realized that you're talking, but the microphone's over here, so I don't even know that it's picking up a word you're saying. Okay, well, when you see me next, I will have seen the Fnaf movie. And that's exciting. I'm feeling good. Okay, we just saw a Fnaf movie, and I'm gonna say that is better than the first one for sure. I will give more extensive thoughts, but just right off the bat, it was way more of a horror movie than the first movie. Like, actual spooky, very scary visuals, very good. Genuinely effective jump scares. I'm just going to repeat everything that Colby says. He's like right off screen because obviously you can't hear him. I'm not going to do spoilers at this part. I'll tell you when there are going to be spoilers, but like, very much worth it, I would say. And stay all the way to the end of the credits. If I gave the first movie a 7 out of 10, I would give this one an 8 out of 10. I have gripes. I have some gripes I will expound upon, but like, I really did like the movie a lot, and I think part of my problem was just that the people next to me talked through the entire actual entire movie. And that's a crazy thing to do, and I'm just going to tell you right now. If you have not gone to see Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and you are planning to go into the movie theater to watch Five Nights at Freddy's 2, shut up. You can lightly whisper to your friends little things. If you see something funny, laugh. If you see something scary, go, ah. All that good stuff. Do react. But oh my God, do not carry on casual conversation, full-on conversation with your friends in the theater. I understand that you're friends and this is a social moment for you all. There are 30 minutes of credits before the movie starts. Chatter. Yap, friends. When the credits are rolling, freaking yap. But this is probably like peaking this microphone. The first Fnaf movie, when we saw it on like a Friday night, and it was a crazy, crazy group, and it was the first Fnaf movie, and there was a lot of like Easter eggs and everything like that. I totally understood the energy in the room. There were not enough people in this theater for people to be doing, okay? Because we were here on a Thursday night, late, and so I totally understand that there were not that many people there. I will give more in-depth thoughts in a little bit when I've had a chance to get home and warm, but first impression, 8 out of 10. Okay, I am finally home and able to really talk about this movie. I am just going to stay in the car because the animals would be going crazy right now if I went inside, but that's not really what's important right now. But anyway, I am happy to say that I really did enjoy the movie. Like I said, 8 out of 10. For me personally, I'm a bit of a critic, so I'm just going to say some of my gripes at the very beginning here because I'd really rather focus on the things that I really did like. But I do just want to say from the standpoint of, and I promise I will tell you if I'm going to say something spoilery, I will move into that when I say that. There was some of the acting that just like wasn't my favorite. I feel like it was a little stiff. It just felt a little less than for me. In the first movie, it felt like that energy worked a lot better than in this movie. I think there's just something about the energy for me was a little off. There were a number of things that I felt like they were setting up to be jokes or that were delivered as something that was meant to make me laugh, and I just didn't, and that was just unfortunate. I really do like to laugh, and if that is the intended goal. There were things that felt a little rushed about the movie, and then there were other things that felt like could have been faster. So maybe it's just kind of what ended up being the final edit that got me. Maybe there would have been another edit of this movie that took a little more care to maybe move through some things faster that felt like I'm like, okay, let's go. Mainly like manufactured conflict kind of things where I was just kind of like, what are we doing? And then other moments where I felt like maybe there was maybe it was a little too heavy-handed or something like that. It just like felt like all of a sudden exposition dump, you know what I mean? And then it's like, and then moving on, and that was a little odd to me. So some of the exposition was just delivered a little too fast for me, and then other things moved slower than I think that they really needed to because of manufactured conflict. And those are like really my main gripes. Everything else that would potentially be a gripe is spoilery. So I'll try to say some more before I get into spoilers, just so that you guys have a good indication of like what I really thought of the movie real quick. But yeah, let me get into the things that I was not as like critical of. And before I move into the positives, the last thing I'll say that is kind of a gripe that I would not consider a spoiler is that there is a moment in the movie where it feels like they break the rules of the movie, and that frustrated me. But yeah. So, and then the rest of the good stuff that I'll say before I go into spoilers is that I do really love what they did with the puppet in this movie. I want to believe that most people will really enjoy what they did with the puppet in this movie. I really want to believe that people will be positive in the reception towards it. I don't love everything that they did with the puppet, but again, like I said, I'm a critic. They upped the creep factor in this movie a ton. I want to tell you that for real. I know I said it already, but like this movie is so much scarier. Kept me on the edge of my seat a lot more than the first movie. That being said, it is still a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, so it's not like, oh, horrifying. Oh my God. You know, it's not like that. Like I've seen, you know, more horrifying horror movies is what I'm trying to say, I guess. You know, everybody that they added brought something. Everybody that came back got more screen time, more story, more character growth, all that stuff. What I will say is like I really feel like this was like Vanessa's movie. If the first movie is Mike's movie, then I feel like this is Vanessa's movie. That doesn't mean that she's taking over the main character role. It doesn't mean that Abby or any of the other characters seem to really take a back seat. I will just say like I was not expecting the ending. So yeah. Okay. It's really hard for me to talk about this movie without talking about spoilers, but I just want to say I really do like honestly recommend it. I was afraid of being disappointed by this movie. I just want to say that like straight up. I was really excited for it, and I really believed that it would be better than the first movie, but frankly, like for some reason, just like when I got there and when I sat down in the theater and the movie really started, there was a moment for me that I really thought that the movie was like, for some reason, I just felt like, oh God, what if this isn't what I thought it was going to be? And I think that's just because the hype from the first movie was so crazy that maybe being in a more empty theater kind of scared me a little bit, but I really had nothing to worry about, frankly. Okay, so now spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. I'm talking about the things that happen in the movie now. Spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. I'm giving you a lot of time to turn off the video because I really don't want you to accidentally hear something you don't want to hear. If you're going to go see this movie in the near future, just go away, go away, go away. I do just want to say, no matter what I say in this review, I'm not going to spoil the ending of the movie. So if you want like a lot of other information, but I won't spoil the ending. First, I just really can't, like, if you're seeing this and you're like, I have no idea if I'm ever going to go see this, I can't possibly spoil the ending for you because I just think it's something worth seeing yourself. Okay, you've had your warning. It's happening. I'm talking about the movie now. So the beginning of this movie starts off kind of crazy. I was honestly just shocked at how quick everything happened. I did not expect us to open with, it's happening. If you haven't turned off the video, it's happening right now. Charlotte's death. Just right off the bat, Charlie just dies first thing. Really did not expect that. Did not expect, like, the way they showed her scream in the trailer, I really thought that was her, like, as a ghost realizing that she couldn't communicate with the other people, but it was her death rattle, you know? Like, that's crazy. I appreciate that they give Charlotte and Vanessa a friendship early on in the movie. That was very interesting to me. I did not expect that. I expected that Vanessa obviously knew about everything, and was just hiding that information, but I didn't expect that they would be friends. I'm just gonna cut this side of the thing because I'm really, like, anxious about the fact that you can maybe a little bit see out of my window, but I don't want to keep my arm up like that the whole video. So yeah, I was really excited about the puppet. She ended up wearing almost like this exact thing in the movie, which I thought, so that's why I wore mine. Anyway, so it was a cool opening in the sense that it caught me off guard, but I was really kind of shocked that they just kind of, like, throw that out there at the very beginning. I thought maybe we would have some build up to that. And so that is what had me a little bit maybe worried that this movie was going to be kind of flat, because I was like, this is what I thought we were building up to. I thought we were going to open with the paranormal group. I really thought that was what was going to be the opening, was the paranormal group going in there. But no. I think that the way that they have taken the puppet in this is almost entirely great. I just wish she wasn't so heavy-handed with her obsession with parents. They set it up at the beginning of the movie. That's the only thing you saw of her, is that she is an absent parent, but they kind of, like, they lay that on thick at the very first, like, 5 minutes of the movie, right? It's like, okay, we get it. You know? And so, like, when they kind of keep coming back to it throughout the movie, I'm kind of just like, I understand what her motivation is. Like, I really, really do. I would like that to be more deep, not just repeated over and over again. Like, give me a little bit more insight into what's going on inside her head. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, and in a way, I do understand the simplicity of it, because Vanessa does say, like, she's stuck, and, like, the puppet is stuck. Charlotte is stuck in her last moments alive, where she was just enraged and hurt at the fact that the parents weren't there for her. So I super duper feel for her in that way, and I do understand the simplicity of it, but it becomes a little confusing later when it's like, she's not even targeting, like, specifically the parents that were there that night or anything. She's just killing people, and she really doesn't care if she hurts, like, innocent children along the way, and that just, like, confuses me. That being said, setting aside Charlotte and the way that the puppet works in this movie, which I will say is like a possession kind of thing, where she takes over the body of a human. Super, super cool. Love that. I love it. It's getting into the glitch trap stuff. It's getting into all of that. And I do really, really love that. If like there's so much about her that is so very cool. She has, like, the coolest effects in the movie. I said setting her aside, but I want to glaze up the puppet a little bit here. Like, the effects are great, the visuals are great, she's so spooky, so scary. I love it. But some of her motivation stuff is just a little confusing to me. But they set it up. I get it. I do get it. What they did with Vanessa in this movie was my favorite stuff. My favorite stuff in this movie is the Vanessa stuff. And I think maybe that's, like, maybe why I'm disappointed, is because just like every other time they start to give me Vanessa, they pull me back out. And I'm looking at Abby, and Mike is just going on and on. And I'm just like, why are we spending so much time just kind of watching these people drive from house to house? But that may just be a me thing, because, you know, I love my girlie Vanessa, and they did a really good job delving into her psyche in this movie, and I love it so much. But I don't know, maybe these movies need to be just like I don't know, 20 minutes longer, just to give us a little more time to really go in there with Vanessa and give her, like, one more scene of her alone. I think would have done it for me. But and she's, like, let me be abundantly clear. She's in a lot of this movie. She gets tons of screen time. If you've already seen it, like, you already know. She gets tons of screen time in this movie. I'm not complaining that they didn't put her enough in the movie, just that I wanted more of her backstory. I'm realizing that I'm having a really hard time summing up my feelings about this movie. So I'm just going to go from character to character. I think that's just the way that I'm going to do this. So we talked about Charlotte and things that I like about her and things that I don't like about her. We talked a little bit about Vanessa and things that I like about her character. I don't think there's anything they did with Vanessa in this movie that I don't like. I'm going to be honest. I think that the Vanessa stuff that they did do in this movie, they nailed. And maybe that's just why I wanted more of it. Maybe because I had some gripes with every other character's kind of journey in this that, well, not everybody else. Maybe just because there were a number of characters that I did have some gripes about their stuff with, that maybe like I'm just like, oh, I just want to stay on Vanessa because I am having such a good time with her as a character. But like truly, I mean, everything they did with Vanessa, I think I really, really liked it. Having her have like these psychotic break kind of moments, having her try her best to be normal. And she's even hypocritical in the way that she tells Mike, like, hey, you need to be honest with your sister, but she's not being honest with Mike. And Mike knows that she's not being honest with him. So I think there's like a part of that too, where he's just kind of like, okay, why in the world would I listen to you when I know you're not telling me everything, you know? I really appreciated everything they did with her. So I'll just say that I just give her a 10 out of 10. And I'm not just being a Vanessa fangirly here. I really do think that the way Clear Scott and Blumhouse and everybody else involved with the story of this is like, okay, we got to find a way to kind of weave in the new stuff with the old stuff. And the way that they do that with Vanessa is my favorite. My favorite. Okay. Let me move on to Mike, though, because I don't know what was going on with him in this movie. I think, like, maybe they're like, he's got to kind of pull back, but I think they could have written it a little bit better for me if he acted more like Winona Ryder's character in Stranger Things. Wish I could remember her name right now, but after Winona Ryder and her children have, like, dealt with so much in the town that they live in, she's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this anymore, blah, 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 right? She wants to move on. It's very similar to what I feel like Mike's energy is in this. So I just think maybe Josh played it a little too flat. And I also don't think that he was given enough lines to really work with this. Maybe not frantic the way that Winona Ryder's character is in Stranger Things, because she's pretty frantic from the get, but maybe being a little more like focused in on Abby, and maybe even just like distracted around Vanessa. Like everybody else is seeing this like budding romance between these two, but he's very distracted with Abby in this movie, which ultimately I know is what allows Abby to go do all the things that she's going to do. But it feels a little bit like, it feels a little strange to me, because I would just imagine that he'd be more like, I want to be involved with her. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't go on this date tonight with Vanessa. You know, maybe I shouldn't go to dinner with Vanessa. Maybe we should just stay home and watch a movie. Maybe I should just cancel and I'll stay here. And Abby could be like, no, you should go. Because she also has, first of all, she has the ulterior motive. She really wants him to go because she wants to go see her friends. And she also does want him to be able to like move on and do, you know, life and things. But I want him to be more distracted with his concern for her, because later that seems to be his thing. When he gives her the fast talker and lets her keep it, that's him trying to be like, I want her to have her friends. I understand, but it's dangerous and I don't know where they are and everything else. You know, I think that would have been better. Nobody asked me, but I think that would have been better for his character. That being said, the way he reacts to Vanessa does, like, it shocked me, but I think in a good way. I think it was him getting into that protective role over Abby. So I will say that that is something that I like about Mike, is that he, in this movie, does start to get wary of Vanessa in a real way. And then even when she comes in at some point and like tries to warn him that maybe Abby and the fast talker, there's something going on there, he's like, don't talk to me, you know, like, I don't want to hear it. I'm just trying to help my sister feel better. I want her to be okay, and I don't need you coming in here and trying to make it a problem, you know. I don't want any more problems, right? I think it would work so much better if we got a little bit more of him being preoccupied with Abby. Maybe if he's like worried about her doing the robotic stuff because he's thinking like, oh God, she's going to go there and try to fix the animatronics. So maybe he catches on to that or something. I don't know. He just feels a little like flat in this movie, and it just is unfortunate. I don't know. They do keep the gag of him seeming to just kind of piss off everybody that he's around, which I do think is funny. So for what it's worth, it's not like I think they ruined his character or anything. I just think that he could have been written to be a little more protective, since we do get so much of that later. And when we get into that stuff, I think that is very powerful. The way that it's written, it almost comes out of nowhere. I understand where they set it up, but it almost feels like it comes out of nowhere. It's kind of abrupt. And I wish it was less abrupt. And I wish it was a little more mean. I know that sounds sad, but I wish he raised his voice more at Vanessa, and I wish he just got a little more just like gut punch with her. Because I just don't feel like we got enough of that with him. So moving on from Mike to Abby, I really like her in this movie. I wish that she was a little more emotive when she gets upset. Maybe they tried it with Abby to be more emotive, but it just felt really forced for the actor. So I'm not going to be too nitpicky about a child actor, is what I'm really trying to say. But there were moments I felt like Abby should have been like openly sobbing, and she just kind of seemed a little downtrodden. There's so many other big emotions going on in this movie that it just feels a little off for me when she's not up there. It didn't like pull me out of enjoying the movie or anything, but there were some moments, and maybe this is projecting. Maybe it's just like, well, if I was in this situation, I would be sobbing my eyes out. Like I would just be like completely inconsolable, and she seems pretty chill. It may have very well been the writing. I know that Abby's character is a little off anyway. Very, very specifically when it comes to the animatronics. I don't understand why she's not more emotive, because she's capable of getting really angry. I don't know what it is. That aside, what they do with her character in this movie, I do really like. Making her interested in the robotics, putting her in a situation where she has to prove herself because her teacher is the worst person who's ever lived. And there's a child murderer in this movie, but somehow this guy is the worst person who has ever lived. And I hate him. So the fact that she has to prove herself, the fact that she's capable of because she does get very angry at a certain point in the movie, and that's what ends up driving her back to the FNAF toy animatronic location. Oh my god, FNAF 2 location is basically what I'm trying to say. I love her attachment to Chica in particular, because it plays really well all throughout the movie. I don't really have gripes about her character. I think it's really I also think that they did a really good job setting up part of the climax. This is a really big spoiler. If you've been listening for this long, I haven't really said anything super duper spoilerific until this moment. This is really very spoilery. Very close to the end of the movie information that you're going to get here. When the puppet possesses Abby, they set that up so well, because we've been thinking about it, from FNAF 1 being like, she acts a lot like Charlie. Is she going to be the puppet? Then it was very clear when they did all the marketing for FNAF 2 that she was not the puppet, that was a different character. So getting to the point where, oh god, like they lure Abby in, they spend all that time like luring her in, and she's the perfect candidate for all of this. I'm just gonna say it, when she became puppet, I thought that was it for her. That would have been such a strong move for the movie if they had just fully taken her out that way. Maybe it would have been too dark. I don't know. There's already so much kid murder. I don't really know why it would be bad. Maybe Charlotte is less likely to kill Abby rather than just use her because she is a child. I don't know. And that's just like one thing about the puppet that I'm just like, why are you comfortable like possessing kids and like killing kids? It's very odd to me. The paranormal investigator is the first person that she possesses early in the movie, and it's hard to tell. I mean, she's like a teenager, closer to adulthood. I'm getting back into Charlie stuff now. There's a number of things about the Charlie stuff that I don't like. That's a very mixed bag for me, because like genuinely, like the visual, the effects, the choices that they made with the puppet, I really, really do like. It's just like the rules they're trying to set up for her, it feels like she's just like breaking them when she is possessing kids. I don't know. It's very, very odd. Maybe it's just the only thing she can possess. She can only possess kids. Maybe it's just that she can only possess kids, and so that just is what it is, and just a vehicle. She just wants to get out, all that stuff. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. But I really thought that Abby was done for. And since there is a third movie and everything else, and if Abby's story isn't done, which it wasn't really by that moment, that would have been probably a not narratively satisfying moment for Abby to die. But when they presented it to us, because I saw what happened with the first girl, because she does die after being possessed, I just was like, oh my God, Abby's done for. They set the stakes so well. They did such a good job setting up the stakes because I was scared for her. And I was like, oh, devastated. Like, oh my God, that's it for Abby? But then it wasn't. So her arc is great. She has a great momentum for the next movie based on everything that happens to her in this movie. I hope that they carry it through. I'm really excited to see what else they do with Abby after her possession, because she seems to like kind of walk it off pretty easily, but then she's dealing with the fact that the spirits are truly moved on and she doesn't have those friends anymore. And so I am interested to see if they keep the Gregory type kid around. There is a Gregory type kid in this movie who does seem a little off. It could very well just be a nod situation and not necessarily something we're going to pay that much attention to, but I think she's being set up really well to be a really complex character in the third movie. So I hope that they take advantage of that, is what I'm really trying to say. And you know what? Technically, there is one more character that I could talk about here, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save that for the live stream that I will be doing after this video ends, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me live, and we're going to just do a full, long chat about all of this. So you can come share your thoughts, theories, etc. And that's where I will talk about the character that I have not talked about yet in this video. So watch that if you want to hear my thoughts about that. They seem to have role reversed the puppet, the marionette. In the movie, she's called the marionette. They seem to be role reversing the marionette and Golden Freddy, where Golden Freddy and the kid attached to him seems to be like the protector sort, the way that we interpret the puppet in the games. And Charlotte is the vengeful spirit, because she's the one who's like raging out. She died in a rage. She wants to kill all these people, and she doesn't care who she has to kill. She doesn't care if you're a parent. If she thinks you're a parent, you gotta go. You gotta go. So it's very interesting seeing them do a role reversal there on that. I have to imagine that's what it is, and that Scott's not trying to tell us that we've had it all backwards all this time, but I think it will spark a level of discussion. I think it will spark a level of discussion, and I think it will be really interesting. I have not gone into everything that is revealed in this movie. There are other things, like I said, we can talk about at the chat after this. So again, like I said, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm live, and if you're seeing this video like after the fact, the VOD will still be up, and you can, just listen to us talk at length about it. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. You can leave your thoughts in the comments of this video, and you can leave your thoughts over there. I'll read as many of them as I possibly can. Hi there. It's the next day and I'm very tired, but I realized that I forgot something kind of important. I did say yesterday that there was a moment in the movie that felt like it broke the rules that it set up. And I know that I talked about the puppet a little bit and how it felt like her deal was that she hated parents and wanted to kill parents, but then she totally kills like the paranormal investigator girl who is like probably like a teenager, a very, very young adult, and doesn't seem like a mom or doesn't ever reveal herself to be a parent. But I could pretty much excuse that stuff just by saying like, oh, it's just a vehicle for her to get out of the restaurant. So it's less that she's like doing that vindictively and more that she's just being opportunistic, and the same deal goes for Abby. But that being said, there is genuinely a moment in the movie that feels like kind of, I don't know, inexcusable, because they set up, just like in the games, that the puppet is cool as long as the music box is playing. And they introduce that the music box is broken, and then Mike gets a new music box, and that becomes like the thing at the end of the movie, the big climax. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can save Abby by going and getting this music box. So he opens it up, uses it, and the puppet goes back to sleep. And then he immediately closes the music box. But it was the only part of the movie where I really freaked out at the screen, being like, oh my God, turn the music box back on. She's going to come back. I feel like there was a long, long time after the music box went off that the puppet was just kind of like vibing out, asleep somewhere. And I don't think that, like, I mean, they turned the music box off so fast after the fact. I'm just like, I don't know. I wish maybe they had set up like, oh, as long as the music box has been played, like she sleeps for like a specific amount of time or something. I don't know. I might be being, as I'm hearing myself say it, I think I might be being nitpicking again. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments if I'm nitpicking or not. But it's up to y'all. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned it because I said it earlier and I didn't want to leave it hanging. Okay, that's all. Yeah, I really did like this movie. There are a lot of things I liked way more than I didn't like. I want that to be abundantly clear. I'm a critic. Like I said, I'm a critic, so I'm gonna have issues with things. But this was fun, and it was, like I said, it topped the first movie in terms of like quality. But I do think that the fast-paced nature of the exposition in the first movie flowed a lot better than in this movie. So if there's one thing that the first movie did better, it was just the way that they did the exposition and reveals and things like that. This one just was just very fast, and a lot of things that I could also predict. I can imagine that's why critics are probably going to pan this movie. I hope that people go see it and everything like that, but like I do think critics are going to continue to just say on this one because it's for the fans. You know what I'm saying? It's like for the fans. I think this one's more accessible if you're not a fan. And a lot of the Easter eggs or little nods to the games and things like that, which obviously we're going to notice, and I did notice, and they were so well integrated. The entire security office scene in this movie is a banger. I love it. But yeah, I do think that probably critics are going to have a hard time with this one for probably a lot of the same reasons as the first one, and that's really unfortunate. But if you're a FNAF fan or if you're a horror fan who's just good at your turning your brain off and just enjoying the ride, this is a good one. There are some really good kills in here. Not tons of blood because again, it's a movie that's for a younger audience still. They know that a younger audience is going to come see it. So it's not like all out gore, guts, grody, but there's some pretty violent behavior in this movie. And it was quite frankly shocking to me. So anyway, I will leave it at that. I really hope you'll join me for the live stream if you are seeing this when it comes out. And I do hope you'll check out the live stream either way. And if you're new to this channel, I really hope you'll check out my other videos and things like that. Obviously I got the little Bonnie topper. I also got the popcorn bucket and the cup. I was not getting like the specialty buckets because they were way too expensive. I'm not about that life, but if you do go, the FNAF combo is like the same price that it would be if you were just getting a regular combo at the AMC. So with all that being said, I hope that this was a fun little video. I just wanted to kind of give my very first thoughts right after seeing the movie because I was really excited about this one and I figured I'd have a lot to say. So it's nice to just be able to get it all out of my system immediately. So if you want to talk more, like I said, live stream 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, if you are watching this when it comes out. Otherwise, I hope that you have had a good day or whatever. I don't know. That's not what I normally say at the end of my videos, but I'm cold and it's late and I'm crazy. But anyway, if you haven't already, hit the like button, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already subscribed to become a part of the nervous system, I upload new videos every week, usually, and go live on Wednesdays and Fridays, usually. But if you can't wait, there are videos somewhere on the screen right now just for you. Okay, bye. Is this enough? Did I do it? I feel eternally unsatisfied.